Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into a CSS secret weapon, a little trick that can make your web automation scripts pretty much unbreakable. Let's get right into it. Okay, so picture this. You're writing an automation script, and you hit that wall. We've all been there. The element you need to interact with has dynamic attributes. You know, the ID, the class, maybe even the value. It's different every single time the page loads. It is a super common problem, and it makes our scripts so fragile. So how do you even deal with that? Well, the answer is actually kind of brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of trying to grab that shaky, unpredictable element directly, you use its stable, reliable next-door neighbor as a landmark. So first, let's just take a second to really break down why these dynamic elements are such a pain for automation and why our usual selectors just, fall apart when they encounter them. All right, it is time to upgrade that selector toolkit of yours. We're going to look at a CSS feature that was practically designed for this exact situation. One that lets us target an element based on its relationship to the element right next to it.
Say hello to the adjacent sibling combinator. Now the keywords here are adjacent and sibling. This isn't just for any old element that's kind of nearby. Nope. It has to be the one immediately following it, and they both have to share the same parent in the HTML. It's like they have to be living under the same roof, right next to each other. That precision is what gives it all its power. And how do we actually write this powerful relationship in our code? It's just a plus sign. That's it. This one little character is the whole key to finally grabbing those tricky dynamic elements. So how does this little plus sign work all that magic? Well, there are just two simple, absolutely non-negotiable rules you need to follow to make it work perfectly every single time. First, you need what I call an anchor. This is a stable element sitting right before your target, something with attributes you can actually count on, like a static value. Then, second, your target element must be the very next one in the code, at the exact same level. Not two steps down, not tucked inside something else, but the immediate next sibling. Okay, theory is great, but let's make this real. We're going to look at an example from the Salesforce developer site, focusing on a rolled drop-down menu. Our mission? Select an option that has dynamic attributes by anchoring it to the static option that comes right before it. All right, first things first, we gotta find our anchor. Let's just assume that the option with the value developer is static and totally predictable. We can select it easily with a standard attribute selector, just like this. This is our solid starting point. And now we add the magic ingredient, our plus sign. This little guy tells the browser, okay, you found the developer option, great. Now your next job is to find the element that comes immediately after it. And finally, we just specify what we're looking for. In this case, another option tag. And just like that, boom, we've targeted the next item in the list, Architect CTO. Perfectly, and we did it without ever needing to know its own messy, unpredictable attributes. Now this selector is incredibly useful, but it's not a silver bullet. It has one critical limitation. And honestly, understanding this rule is the key to using it right and not pulling your hair out later. So a natural question pops up, right? The plus sign is fantastic for grabbing the very next item, but what if our target is 2 or 3 spots away, like the administrator role in our example? Can we just kind of chain them together? And this right here brings us to the most important rule of all. Adjacent means adjacent. The plus combinator will only ever select the single, immediate, next-door neighbor sibling. You can't chain it to hop over other elements. It is for the element right next door, and only that one. So what does all this mean for your day-to-day automation work? Let's boil it all down to the key takeaways that are going to make your scripts so much more reliable. So let's put it all together. The very next time you're stuck on some dynamic element, stop staring at the element itself. Instead, start looking for its stable next-door neighbor to use as an anchor. From there, just use that plus sign to select the immediate sibling, making sure they're both under the same parent. I promise you, this one technique will help you build smarter, more resilient automation that doesn't break every time the front end changes. And that is the adjacent sibling combinator. It's a simple, super powerful tool for a really common and frustrating problem. So the only question left is, think about that one tricky dynamic element that's been giving you grief in your projects. How are you going to use this new secret weapon to finally nail it?